Alright, man, you read the title, right? Psychedelics are the real red pill. Yes, sir. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up, my guy. Psychedelics are the real red pill of the spiritual journey towards self-realization. You might be wondering, okay, man, how the fuck does psychedelics and the red pill correlate? How much of this red pill should I take? Am I overdosing? Am I underdosing? Well, relax. Relax. Take a deep breath, my guy. Just relax. Because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. Now, first things first, what you must come to understand is something that I talked about previously here on this channel. There's a full video about that, how psychedelics can only get you so far along your own spiritual journey. I'm not trying to make this video seem like, okay, man, you take psychedelics, you take the red pill, you become self-realized, you become enlightened like that. No, that's not the case, because something that I've said plenty of times, there's another video here on this channel about that. Psychedelics act as steroids for spiritual growth. If you take steroids as somebody who works out, what's gonna happen to you is your recovery is gonna be better, your muscle protein synthesis is gonna be better, you're gonna feel stronger, you're gonna feel like you can work out longer, harder, stronger, all that stuff. And that's gonna result in more muscle being packed onto your frame and more strength being added to your overall system. Yet when you hop off the steroids, when you hop off the gear, when you hop off cycle, you revert back to where you were before. You might have kept some of the gains, but it isn't all of the gains. And I think same thing happens with psychedelics, but on a spiritual level, on a spiritual reality. You take psychedelics, you get launched up into these higher states of consciousness that these sadhus, these sages, these mystics, these monks, and these self-realized men have practiced years and years of their sadhanas, aka their spiritual overall practices, to get to that point of consciousness. They didn't get there overnight. They're like the person who's been working out for 10 years straight to build up that physique that they keep. It's a bar right there, the physique that they keep. If you've been working out naturally for 10 years, you don't take it as intensely, you can maintain the body that you've built because this is natural. But if you take steroids, you get that big, like the guy who's been working out for 10 years, even bigger, in 10 days, 10 weeks. But do you keep it? No, it reverts back because it was not a natural process of getting higher and higher into your overall physical development. So what you got to understand is when it comes to psychedelics, you can get to these higher states of consciousness like that, quickly, fast. You just get slingshotted, catapulted to those points of consciousness. But what happens is that Maya, the matrix, the illusion, brings you back down into those lower states. Those lower states is where you naturally reside. It is your default state of being. Until you take that psychedelic experience for what it is, a red pill, giving you a taste of what self-realization is. That's what I'm trying to refer to, that psychedelics are the real red pill. Am I promoting the use of psychedelics? Absolutely not. Am I downplaying the use of psychedelics? Absolutely not. Do what you gotta do, my guy. But what I am saying is, once you taste that state of self-realization, and this isn't just done through small doses of psychedelics. I'm talking about the bigger doses, as Terence McKenna calls it, the heroic dose. That's what sparked my own spiritual awakening. Psychedelics can be a spark to this journey, but it isn't going to be the overall road itself. It can be a pathway to the top, but it isn't something that's sustainable. It isn't something that is actually going to be there for the long term. It's temporary. It just comes and it goes. But that taste of what's underneath this projected illusion, this facade, is what can actually lead you down towards taking this path of self-mastery much more seriously. When you realize that all you've been doing throughout this time is operating on 1 to 2 planes of existence out of the 3 that you can possibly tap into, you're like, what the fuck have I been missing out on? Psychedelics get you to that state of consciousness. Unfortunately, in the time, day, and age that we live in, aka Kali Yuga, as the Vedic philosophies call it, spiritual wisdom is at an all-time low. This isn't something that's being taught in schools. This isn't something that is mainstream on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. And if it is, it's usually the new age spiritual nonsense that just further pumps up your ego, that further just creates barriers and blockades that your consciousness must overcome in order to attain the highest states of self-realization. That's just what it is. It would, in the perfect world, we would have been taught this, we would have been taught meditative techniques from the jump to help the overall spiritual evolution of mankind as a young child. Some traditions, some countries, some cultures still do this, but if you're living in the westernized world, you ain't gonna find this shit unless you got some good parents who have also been on the same journey of self-mastery. You ain't gonna find it. So where do people usually find it? Maybe through a near-death experience. But for me, it was a near-death experience and psychedelics. Most people, like yourself, maybe this is true, maybe this is not, start on the spiritual journey due to a psychedelic experience, due to something that helps them get to that transcendental point where they go beyond the limitations of the brain and body. That's what these sacred shamanic plants, herbs, and medicines, mystical medicines, are meant to do. It's not some shit that you take and go to a fucking rave and then package it with Molly too, so you're fucking rolling in, you're tripping out at the same time. That's the degenerate way, of course, that this westernized world has made the spiritual teachings of the East. Always, it's always like that. You take the spiritual teachings of the East, you McDonaldize it here in the westernized world, and it loses its essence. Same thing happens with the spiritual knowledge. That's why we have New Age spirituality, which is spewing nothing but bullshit. We already talked about it here on this channel. We got a full video titled How New Age Spirituality Will Stunt Your Soul's Development. Check that out if you haven't yet. But that is the essence of what's happening on the westernized world. But right now what I'm telling you is that this is the real red pill. You take psychedelics just like Morpheus that Morpheus tells Neo in the Matrix. He says you want the red pill, the blue pill. If you take a deep dose of psychedelics, I'm telling you, there is no going back. We got another video here on this channel. Once you have a spiritual awakening, there is no going back. There is no U-turns. You have closed that door. You have burnt those bridges back to those states of your lower self. Doesn't mean that you have overall transcended, but now if you come back to those lower states of consciousness, you're always going to feel sick, disgusted. You're gonna feel like you know that there's another level to life, yet you're just satisfied with being stuck in these lower states. You're just satisfied with just saying that, oh man, I'm just gonna stay in these states. I'm just going to kind of take whatever the world gives me, not do the inner work to actually taste that divine nectar that I've had a glimpse of before. I've had a glimpse of God, yet I keep returning back to the gutters. Psychedelics, once you take that deeper dose, like I just mentioned before, there is no choice for you other than to keep on ascending. And most people, what happens is they either get stuck being confused in a state of psychosis, essentially, because all of the reality that they saw before was cracked into 2 pieces now. All the conditioning of the past, of the matrix, of the Maya, of the illusion, of society, of your friends, of your family, finally started to dissolve. And you started to see what lies beneath the surface, what lies underneath this projection of illusions. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Pause. It's a hard pill to swallow. That's why in the movie The Matrix, Morpheus tells Neo, you can take this blue pill Wake up back in your bed and forget all this happened. Ignorance is bliss. Blue pill, think about that. Ignorance is bliss is the blue pill. Or you can take this red pill and I'll show you how far deep this rabbit hole goes. Think of red pill and self-realization. For me, on my journey, that red pill was psychedelics. That red pill was also a near-death experience, but those two came together all at once. This is why I'm saying it is the real red pill for certain individuals on their spiritual path, and most likely that's you. I'm talking to you right now. A person who has realized that there is another layer to this reality that goes beyond just the brain and body, that goes beyond just the physical and mental, that goes beyond just this material existence, Maya. It's not something that should be taken lightly. You should not think, oh man, I'll take this, just have a good time with my friends, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, I've been there, done that. But once you taste that points of self-realization and you're not prepared for it, your psyche is going to be literally short-circuiting. It's going to short-circuit. If you have the spiritual foundations and understandings beforehand, before you have a spiritual awakening, you're going to be set to go. It's like learning how to get up on a surfboard on the sand before you get out into the water. If you practice on the sand how to pop up on your surfboard, when you get into the water and the wave comes and it picks you up, you're more prepared to jump on the wave. But when you just decide, okay, man, I don't need this fucking sand practice. I'm gonna just get out there in the field, in the flesh, in the motherfucking water, and the wave's gonna pick me up and I'll be good. You're gonna eat shit and eat shit and eat shit. This is why, again, for the people, again, I'm not trying to tell you guys to take psychedelics or not to take psychedelics, but what I am saying is be prepared for that psychological shift in everything and how you perceive this whole world and how you perceive the universe and how you perceive your motherfucking self. Okay? This is the real red pill, and you must take it with real respect, because it will either show you the light to this path of self-mastery, which will lead to self-realization, where you don't need psychedelics to get to those states of consciousness, or it will bring you into the depths of despair, into the depths of darkness, because your ego is not prepared to let go. Your ego is not prepared to let God work through you and not to you. You must be willing to let go of all the preconceptions, the stereotypes, the judgments that on what you have about society and what you have about this world, and be completely reborn like a child in order for this red pill to actually do its magic. These are mystical medicines. They have magical properties. I promise you that. Anyone who has taken psychedelics to a good amount, you know what I'm saying. You are picking up what the fuck I'm putting down. This ain't some regular fucking shit that you take at a frat party, my guy. This is real spiritual medicine. But this spiritual medicine can also be poison for those who are not prepared. This is what I'm saying. This is the real red pill. There is no going back. There is no U-turns. Just like in the movie The Matrix, Morpheus said, I'll show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. When you take psychedelics, your whole perception of reality is ripped into shreds. And some people can embrace that because they have let go of their egotistical pursuits and their overall egotistical perspectives, while some people are struggling for dear life, trying to hold on to what they know of reality, what they know of this world, because they're scared of diving deeper into the unknown. They're scared of diving deeper into that motherfucking rabbit hole that Morpheus said in that movie, The Matrix. This is high-grade, powerful shit. Powerful fucking shit. Powerful fucking shit. And again, it isn't the end-all be-all. Like I said before, there's a video on this channel. Psychedelics can only get you so far on your own spiritual path, because you're always going to be dependent on them to tap into those higher states of consciousness. But what if I told you that can give you a taste of this type of stuff, but also make you curious to the point to dive into the ancient wisdom of the past, the esoteric knowledge of self-mastery, the occult wisdom that will lead you back to these higher states of consciousness, that will lead you back to your divine self. Again, all this stuff that we talk about here on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, man. Shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Listen, are you listening, my guy? Wake up. If you are someone who's truly serious about this path of self-mastery that will lead you to self-realization, and you have not joined up into the private Patreon community yet, go take a good look at the motherfucking mirror, because you're doing that guy who's looking back at you in the mirror a huge motherfucking disfavor. That is fraudulent behavior, because within there, you get access to exclusive content where you're not gonna find here on this channel, on the main channel, matter of fact, anywhere else on YouTube, that is diving deeper and deeper into the depths of this overall esoteric science of self-mastery. Diving deeper into these ancient texts, diving deeper into this overall practices that will lead you back to the pinnacle point of your overall potential, mentally, physically, and spiritually speaking. And along with that, you get access to our full guides. Funny enough, we got a full guide on how to take psychedelics properly for spiritual and psychological growth. Again, I'm not telling you to take psychedelics or not to take psychedelics, but for the people that have already made up their mind, they're gonna be like, hey man, I want to take these motherfucking mushrooms, I want to pop some LSD, I want to geek up and get closer to God. I got you. I've went through the ups and downs. I've gone through phases where I fried my fucking brain cells, you know what I mean? But I have understood the principles of what will lead you to the unfoldment of your psychological growth and your spiritual growth by using these shamanic herbs, by using these shamanic sources of mystical medicine. So we got a full guide about that. We got occult lectures going deeper into all of these different types of topics, man. And if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier group within the private Patreon community, you get access to the most important aspect, if you ask me, which is our private group chat where we host our bi-weekly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, 2 live calls each and every single month, bi-weekly. Come on, man, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Where you hop on a call with me as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on the same journey towards self-mastery, who have had these intense psychedelic experiences as well, who understand that psychedelics are only a steroid for spiritual growth, but actually can set them up for their path to true self-realization. These people are on that same journey as you. If you're watching a video for this fucking long, actually be able to grasp these types of topics, you are missing out on being around a community of like-minded men who want to see you elevate, who want to see you liberate mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's been a blessing to be able to correlate and connect with all these types of people, and hopefully I can see you guys there. And hopefully I can see you there, motherfucker. Because again, go take a look in the mirror. By not joining up into the private Patreon community, you're not doing me a disfavor, you're doing that guy who's looking back at you in the mirror a huge motherfucking disfavor. That is fraudulent behavior, my guy. So if you want more information about the Philosopher's Circle, about the private Patreon community as a whole, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video. Because within there, not only will you find a link to the private Patreon community, but also the links to our other services. If you're trying to work with me personally one-on-one to dissolve the karmic bonds, aka the shackles that keep you stuck in your degenerated self, in order to actually realize who and what you are, actually realize and discover your dharma, aka your duty, what you're really brought here to do, beyond just satisfy your senses, beyond just being a slave to the senses, then tap in, fill out an application form. We'll see if you qualify and actually meet what it needs to be a part of this journey, to be a part of this program where I will help you one-on-one, myself, streamline your path back to self-mastery and overall to self-realization. Tap in with that. We got consultation calls if you just want to book a call with me one time, discuss whatever it is that you're dealing with. You get into the depths on how we can get you back on track, get you back on the right train. Tap in with that. We got a free community Discord server, weekly newsletters, all that good stuff. Again, post in the pinned comment of this video. But like I was saying, the stuff that we talk about on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, with the people I'm working with one-on-one in my program, on the consultation calls. These are all the tools, tips, and techniques that lead to self-mastery that essentially psychedelics mimic. Psychedelics just fast forward it. But again, it fast forwards it, but it does not make sure that you fulfill it. It's temporary. You come back down to reality. You come back down to your senses. And if you come back down to your senses and you're still a slave to them, guess what? You come back down to your lower states of consciousness. It all revolves around this whole path, this whole journey of mastering the self, unlocking the mind, purifying the body in order to awaken the soul. Because when you awaken the soul, you connect back with the eternal spirit that lies beyond this physical body, that lies beyond this psychological brain. When those perish, this is what remains. Come on, man, you dig what I'm saying? Some bars right there. When you awaken to that, you realize who and what you truly are, beyond just the names and forms, beyond just the brain and body. And you realize what you were really brought here to do, aka your dharma, your spiritual duty. This is why you incarnated into this specific body with this specific brain. It's for a bigger fucking purpose than just survival, sex, and status. The lower three chakras, the lower three planes of consciousness. The masses of society, the matrix, the Maya, the illusion, wants to keep you stuck in those states, wants to put a lid over your consciousness, to keep you stuck in those lower states, those lower planes, those lower chakras. But psychedelics, what they do is they break through that lid. But funny enough, the lid comes back. It's only for a temporary time, but that's the real red pill in showing you what lies beyond all of this stuff, making you realize, okay, man, there is something deeper to this reality than just the physical body and just my brain. Let me discover it. Let me understand it. Let me get into the esoteric science of self-mastery, which will reveal to me all the secrets of the universe and all the secrets that I've been missing out on this entire fucking time. And again, for some people, when they have that psychedelic experience, when they have that spiritual awakening experience, they have that point where they reach transcendence, they cannot function properly back in the material world, because they have tasted something so much greater than anything this material world can offer them. And they're like, I'm over this. I don't want to do any of this. This is when they have no grounded kind of tether to the material world. And the AC-130s are after me for spitting these bars, spitting the facts. So that's how you know you got to listen up. If the feds are after me, you know I'm spitting facts. But the people that reach that transcendental point, that taste a little bit of that divine nectar, that gnosis, sometimes they get so lost up in the motherfucking sauce that they give up on everything else. They want to get fully absorbed into the light, yet they don't have what it takes to be fully absorbed into the light, because psychedelics were the reason that they got to that point. The real work still needs to be done, and that is self-mastery. Self-mastery grounds you in the material world, but allows you to transcend beyond it. Just like the quote from the Bible: operate in this world, but don't be of it. Live in this world, but don't be consumed by it. That's what self-mastery is all about, and that's what psychedelics can show you, but it won't do for you long term. It's short term, it's temporary, it is not permanent. But the progress you make on this path of self-mastery stays with you as long as you want it to. However, again, when you take that red pill of psychedelics, you realize all these things. What I'm telling you right now, there is no going back. So all you have is the path of self-mastery laid out in front of you. It's only if you actually take it seriously and go towards it, or you're just going to be looking for escape routes. But that door is closed back to the degenerated self, back to the darkness. Even though you still might be consumed by it within your own system, you know deep down that this is not what life is all about. And it's a hard pill to swallow. So if you do not actually continue to transcend, you're always going to have that thought gnawing at the back of your mind of like, there is something deeper to this reality, something deeper to this world than just the material existence, than just survival, sex, and status that the masses, the matrix, the Maya wants to keep you stuck in. You look at the people around you. What are they focused on? Survival, sex, and status. Are they evil? Are they bad? Absolutely not, but they have not awakened to this reality. Once you take that red pill, the psychedelics, you had a spiritual awakening through some way, shape, or form. There is no going back. You realize that this isn't all there is. You open up a new catalog of consciousness that you can tap into. Then it's your choice at that point. Do you want to remain in the stuck in the lower ones, or do you want to get back to those states that psychedelics got you to momentarily for a brief time? You can achieve psychedelic states of existence 24/7 due to your path on this whole journey of self-mastery. That's what self-realization is. Self-realization is the psychedelic state of ego death in a more suitable manner, in something that you can control, in something that you have done within yourself. I don't know about you, but I've tasted some of that divine nectar through ego death, through high doses of psychedelics, and I want to be in that state 24/7 while not being overconsumed into it. And some of you guys may have the same ideas and correlations as well. How do we get to that point? Well, the ancient wisdom of the past that we're unpacking here on this channel, on the main channel, especially on the motherfucking private Patreon community, especially over there, gives us the manuals, the tools, the tips, the overall blueprint to get back to godhood, to get back to self-realization, to get back to our divine essence. Come on, man, you dig what I'm saying? Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? This is not a game, this is not a joke, this is not a gimmick, this is real life. God realization is there waiting for you to awaken to it if you truly want to abide in that state of self-realization. Psychedelics can show you a little bit of it, can give you like a tour. Imagine you're going apartment hunting. Imagine you're trying to buy a new house. You go on tours. The guy will show you, hey man, look at the bathroom, this is the living room, this and that. That's psychedelics, that's what they're doing. Hey man, this is self-realization, this is what it feels like, this is what it looks like, this is what it will do for you. But you gotta actually pay the rent. And you gotta pay the rent through this practice, through this journey, through this path of self-mastery. You can't just take an apartment tour and be like, hey man, I love that apartment, I want it, and then be like, oh man, I don't want to pay for it though. You get the fuck out. But you're always gonna be like, damn man, I want to live in that apartment. Damn man, I want to stay in that spot. Well, you can stay in that spot, but you need the motherfucking bread. You need the resources. Same thing happens spiritually speaking through psychedelics. It'll give you a tour of that place that you really want to stay, the place that you will really call home, aka back in the womb of the universe. But you gotta pay to stay. I can give you a tour, but you gotta pay to stay. How do you pay? Through the practice of self-mastery, going beyond the constraints that keeps your consciousness in its lowest states. It's not easy, it's not something that's gonna happen overnight, but trust me, if you're somebody who's truly serious about this, and matter of fact, I don't believe that you're somebody who's not truly serious about this, because you would not be watching a video for this fucking long if that's the case. I've always said this to people that are watching this channel in specific, what the fulati, we're out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these motherfucking gains, so you ain't out here looking like a motherfucking lame. You dig what I'm saying? Come on, man. You guys are more psychologically and spiritually advanced than the mass of society. Am I saying that you're better than anyone? Absolutely not. This is not a new age spiritual channel telling you that you're a chosen one, telling that you, oh man, just because you watch my channel, you're a spiritual master, you're enlightened. Fuck no, you're not. I'm not. We ain't special. But the reason that you have been gifted by God these potential abilities to grasp these deeper concepts, listen to videos for this long on these topics that fly over the heads of society, the masses, the matrix, and the Maya, the illusion, is due to maybe past lives, is maybe due to the karmic debts that you dissolved previously, that set you up in a proper position to be able to get on this path to liberation through this overall journey of self-mastery. So you cannot waste it on bullshit. You cannot waste it on nonsense. If you've had these psychedelic experiences where you got to these transcendental points, it's not just for fun and games. You'd be like, oh man, that was really cool. I'm just gonna go back to watching porn. I'm just gonna go back to eating junk food. I'm just gonna go back to being a slave to my senses. No, man, you realize what awaits you if you actually master yourself. What if you could stay in those states of consciousness as long as you want? Because again, the psychedelics, what they do is transcend you to those states of consciousness. It's already within you. It's not something that's outside of you. It just activates it much quicker. Yet your practices of spirituality is what activates it slowly over time, slowly but surely. But imagine you activate it and it stays there as long as you want. You can turn on this light as long as you want. You can turn it off whenever you want. It's not a free trial. Psychedelics are a free trial of self-realization, but you want the full thing. You want the full amenities. Not a free trial, not just a fucking tour. You want to live there. You want to abide in there. You want that to be your state of existence. And you cannot waste these things that have happened due to divine guidance, due to the plan of God to help you back to your highest states of your mental, physical, and spiritual potential. You cannot waste it on just be like, oh man, this sounds great, and I'm gonna do nothing about it. What the fuck was the point? What the fuck was the point then? What was the point? You should have just taken out a rave and just been a dumbass and just been a degenerate. But if you actually use these divine sacred plants gifted to us by God for its real purpose, for its spiritual purpose, and you still have not integrated the lessons that it taught you, you're doing yourself a disfavor, you're doing the world a disfavor, because the world needs more people on this path of self-mastery. The world needs more men, especially, on this path of self-mastery in order to actually ascend and continue this evolution on a spiritual term of our consciousness. We are stuck in Kali Yuga, this state where carnality is at its all-time high, the time period where carnality is at its all-time high, and consciousness is at an all-time low. We must be the men who transcend that, who pull it in the right direction, who bring it back to the godhood, the glory days, the golden age. And psychedelics should be one of the tools, the real red pill that gets you to realize that this is what you were really brought here to do. Unlocking your dharma by first unlocking this new plane of existence. It's like playing a video game and then you have this one part of the map that you're always stuck in. You go to the unknown, you go to the depths of that, the map starts to unfold. You start to unlock new areas. You start to unlock new missions. You start to unlock the game in itself. That's what happens also, psychologically speaking, when it comes to psychedelics. And you see, I'm spitting the facts, and the AC-130 is back again. If I don't make it, Mama, I love you. Tell my mom I love her. But, like I was saying, you unlock new parts of the map, the new missions, and you unlock the main mission, your dharma, that will lead you back to the divine, and funny enough, will fulfill you more than any amount of cars, money, clothes, hoes, whatever the material world can offer you. This is true fulfillment, your dharmic duty, your dharmic path, and that's only unlocked through the path of self-mastery, through the journey of mastering yourself. Psychedelics can awaken you to that and press the start button, but it ain't gonna do it for you. That's why it's a real red pill. It can give you the start. It can be like Morpheus, where it shows you how deep this rabbit hole goes. But at the end of the day, the Matrix, the movie, keeps on moving. Neo must start to master himself in order for the main mission of the movie to further unfold. Psychedelics can only get you so far, but it can get you started at least, if you take it with the right approach. Again, I'm not recommending it, and I'm not telling you not to do it. You have your own path, you have your own purpose, you have your own dharma to discover. I'm just saying for what it is, because I'm out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these games, and I'm out here. Peace.